We've built a modern environment designed for absolute control. We exist in artificially cooled rooms, sanitize every surface, and consume hyper-processed, sterilized diets. While these environments represent a historical peak in human comfort, they have coincided with a simultaneous surge in chronic, multisystemic health conditions. Consider three different people: a 60-year-old woman suffering through relentless hot flashes, a 30-year-old man struggling with bleeding stomach ulcers, and a child dealing with chronic anxiety and severe allergies. Standard medical practice treats these as distinct mechanical failures. The hot flashes get blood pressure medications, the ulcers get synthetic antacids, and the allergies get antihistamines. But treating these as isolated hardware bugs misses the broader context. These symptoms appear in bodies that have been severed from the natural evolutionary ecosystem they were designed to inhabit. Restoring health requires looking at our internal microenvironment, starting with something as common as postmenopausal hot flashes. When the body's internal temperature spikes, our modern instinct is to attack it from the outside, cranking up the AC or drinking cold water from the fridge. But treating a systemic internal heat imbalance with external cold provides only temporary relief. Traditional holistic practices address the source by shifting the body's internal pH. They prioritize alkaline foods, like drinking fresh cucumber juice on an empty stomach to neutralize excess acidity within the system. They also turn to specific botanicals. Boiling the leaves of the puvarash tree to create a daily drinking water is used to cool the entire system from the inside out. This approach treats the gut as a living ecosystem that requires dietary balance, rather than treating the body like an overheated machine that needs to be frozen. We can see this same ecosystem principle at work in the 30-year-old patient suffering from sharp throat pain and bleeding internal ulcers. A quick fix antacid might temporarily suppress the acid, but traditional medicine uses Kudangal, also known as Indian pennywort, ground to a paste and mixed with buttermilk. Taken every morning on an empty stomach, this remedy follows a 41-day cycle to soothe the inflamed tissue and rebuild the digestive tract's protective lining. Severe internal damage cannot be resolved with a chemical patch. The gut is a biological environment that requires deliberate time and specific nutrients to regenerate itself. This principle scales up when we look past the gut and out into our macroenvironment, particularly when confronting the rise in childhood anxiety and asthma. Over the last few decades, health departments and manufacturers have cultivated an intense germophobia, pushing the idea that children must be kept entirely spotless and separated from the earth. Physical contact with the earth introduces the specific microbial data required for the body's internal systems to develop correctly. The soil contains a specific ancient bacterium known as Mycobacterium Vaccae. When we touch the earth, this bacterium stimulates neurons to increase serotonin, the hormone regulating stress, sleep, and appetite. Simultaneously, diverse microbes train the immune system to distinguish friend from foe, preventing autoimmune conditions like asthma. Soil is a critical biological input. Without it, the immune system and brain chemistry lack the necessary signals to properly regulate themselves. Researchers like Dr. Chris Lowry have begun quantifying what happens when we lose this connection to the natural world. Based at Bristol University, academic studies have documented the physiological toll of our highly sanitized lives. The resulting diagnosis is a condition broadly described as nature deficit disorder. When we deprive our bodies of natural elements, the documented manifestations include physical weakness, chronic anxiety, obesity, and an immune system prone to overreactions. Ultimately, human health is deeply and biologically dependent on our continuous, physical interaction with the rich natural ecosystem around us. We cannot thrive inside a sterile bubble. A resilient body and a stable mind require us to manage our internal pH, trust the slow healing of botanical wisdom, and most importantly, go outside and get our hands dirty.